When we're talking about the holidays, we're essentially talking about parties and hosting friends and family and stuff like that. And an important aspect of hosting parties is having some snacks or some hors d'oeuvres, as they call them, when your guests arrive. And we have yet to cover anything like that aside from our cheese board. I'll leave a link down to my cheese board. That is a classic thing to have when you have guests. And I made a nice little festive holiday version of it. But at our house on holidays, there's a few kind of staples that you're always gonna find. And one of them is ham and cheese in puff pastry. It's one of those things that's not a family recipe. It's probably a Ina Garten or Martha Stewart recipe, one of those two. But we've just had it every year. It's very easy and affordable to make, and it kind of looks very fancy and like you spent a lot of time on it. And I've never been a big ham guy, but the ham, the cheese, and the Dijon mustard combination go really well together. So that's what we're gonna make. It's very simple. We just got some puff pastry sheets that are frozen. I'm not making puff pastry sheets on Thanksgiving or the holidays, or really ever in life. So you're good getting the frozen kind. Then I've got some Black Forest ham, whatever you got, depending on the thickness or thinness that you have it cut. You're gonna put like 1 or 2 layers on the puff pastry. I've got some Swiss cheese here, regular Swiss cheese. You could use Emmentaler, you can use Gruyere. Those are just sort of fancier Swiss cheeses. Some Dijon mustard. Dijon is important. Don't use just yellow mustard, please. Dijon is French, ham and cheese is French kind of dish. Dijon has some white wine in it, so it's different than your yellow mustard. And then we're gonna egg wash it, and there you have it. Very simple. Let's just get right into it. First thing is I got a sheet tray. It's lined with parchment paper, ready to go, and my oven is preheated to 450 degrees. Now this is pastry, and we want to work pretty fast because we don't want this to warm up too much. So in this package comes 2 sheets. I'm gonna take one out. I'm gonna put one back in the refrigerator so it doesn't warm up too much. Now you wanna make sure it sits out at room temp for about like 30 minutes so that it becomes defrosted enough that you can open it. And if it's too frozen and you try to open it, this might snap off. And even now I'm a little bit worried, but let's see. A little flour, rolling pin. Now when you're rolling, you want your hands to be outwards, right? When you use a rolling pin, where you put the pressure is not where the pressure is actually going. And so we want to roll this out straight so that it kind of is just a bigger version of this sheet, not some sort of wobbly kind of version. So you're gonna notice how you kind of apply pressure like that, how straight or not it's going to be. So if you kind of want to adjust it, you can put a little bit more pressure on one side or another and try and straighten it out. But just know that you want to kind of roll with even pressure from the outside, and then it should kind of roll out evenly. And you want to roll it out to 10 inches by 12 inches. And we want to roll both sheets out roughly the same size, obviously, so that they close nicely, and then we'll fill it. So first I want to brush a thin layer of the Dijon mustard, leaving a little border around the edges so that we can close it a little bit later. A little goes a long way. This is pretty thinly sliced ham, so I may go 1 or 2 layers, no more. Now, over that, a layer of cheese. Now roll out the next one. I just like to push in these corners and try and kind of revive them a little bit. Now you're gonna make a quick egg wash, 1 egg and like a tablespoon or 2 of water. Now I'm gonna go and egg wash the sides, close this up, egg wash the top, and then put some slits in, throw it in the oven, and that's it. we gotta slit it. 3 times is all I like to do. 1, 2, 3. And then there she is. She goes into a 450-degree oven for 20 minutes. At that point, she should be pretty beautifully golden browned and puffed up. And that should tell you it's ready to go. It's not as good when it's super hot as it is when it's cooled for a minute. It sort of kind of coagulates and holds itself together. Puff pastry, you know, it puffs up. It's probably going to kind of sink a little bit when you cut it, but the idea is essentially we're gonna let it cool. We're gonna cut it into little squares with a serrated knife, and we're gonna saw at it, not push down at it. We wanna try and maintain as much lift as we can. I'm gonna cut it down the middle, and then each half I'm gonna cut in half again to create 4 kind of lines, and then cut into squares. It's a perfect little appetizer. Like I said, these are a little bit better when they're cooled down, so feel free to make these ahead of time. Not like a day ahead of time, but you know, you can cook these an hour or 2 before your guests arrive and they'll be fine. Like I said, I've never been a big ham guy, but there's something about this, it's always been delicious. It's just like something you hope to have as an hors d'oeuvre when you go to a party. Something pastry-y, baked, crisp, cheesy, savory. What more could you ask for? Guys, it's here. It's done. My holiday plan of attack is now officially live on my website. It's available to download so you can start preparing for Thanksgiving. It's gonna be there for you whenever you need it. I'll be there for you too. It's gonna be a hotline. All this stuff is gonna be outlined on the website, and I'll leave a link down below. So please, please guys, go check this out. If you've ever wanted to support the show in any way, this is a really, really great time to do it. I'm gonna promote the heck out of this, so get ready. That's all that I have today. I'll see you next time. Until then, take care of yourself and go feed yourself.